Everyone, welcome to Buster Call, episode 7, I'm pretty sure, where we just go through and we just expose everything One Piece related, from the deepest theories to hot takes to live action. We're just gonna go through and just expose everything. We're gonna answer all your guys' questions. We get super in-depth, but on this episode, we have the one and only Chestnut Tanuki.
Hello, thanks for having me.
All right, so first of all, how did you come up with your name? Like, what was the thought process behind that?
It's kind of dumb. So my hair is like chestnut colored. And I have like, you can't see it on camera. I also have a little makeup on, but I have like super dark circles. So it's like people say I have raccoon eyes. So I was like, oh, a Japanese raccoon is a tanuki. So I kind of just took those two things.
Okay, that has to be the most creative like thought process I've ever heard for a name ever.
Really?
Like, you actually had like a whole backstory for your name. That's crazy.
I used to be
Alright.
called Chestifer, and it was based off of a comic. And then people, because I used to do it without like the enhanced feature on TikTok, and they were like, "Go to bed. Like you look like you have like dark circles for days." And I'm like, "No, I just look like this." Ugh.
So you're well, you're at least turning like a negative into a positive, right?
Yeah, I kind of tried, but I think it's a cute name. So now I got like I was thinking of getting like little tanuki ears for my vids. I don't know how people are gonna like that, but I was looking into it.
You should. I mean, you could just play into the whole thing if that's your name, and then that'll even set you apart from like everybody.
That's what I was thinking. If I come in like full cosplay, have a little tanuki tail, that might be too much. People might think I'm a furry. I'm not a furry. I swear. I just
Yo, I've already had my say of furries on my stream. I can't afford any more clips. I really can't. So
No. I just like cute anime girls. That's it. That's all I want it to be. So
all right, so I have to ask you right off the bat, what's your favorite seraphim? Or who is your favorite seraphim?
that's actually really hard. But I think that my favorite seraphim has to be the Jinbei seraphim.
Jinbei.
So S Shark not only I think has the best devil fruit combination, considering that like swimming on land is just perfect for a fishman with a devil fruit, but I also think that with the fishman karate that the seraphim could learn, it would be just like a really big threat. So not only could you control water basically with fishman karate, but you could swim on land, and I just think that that would be like a deadly combination. Probably one of the big sleeper like strength seraphims that there are.
I totally agree. Like, I remember when we finally saw that chapter of how he attacks and all that, and he was like knocking up the ground and then using it for the karate. I thought that was so creative. And I'm like so excited to see like what Oda does with the other seraphims. Like, I feel like Oda might like, first of all, he said that Vegapunk said he can't replicate Logia's, right? So I feel like Crocodile or S Crocodile, like, what's his fruit gonna be?
So for S Crocodile, I think it'd be cool if he had Magellan's Devil Fruit. Technically not a Logia because it's a special Paramecia type. So I feel like he might go the special Paramecia route. And I feel like bringing back Magellan's Devil Fruit would be really cool. There would be precedence because it was on in Impel Down. So there would be some sort of way to experiment. So I think Poison Croc would be really cool.
That would be insane. I think Magellan has one of the best fruits, so I hope to see him come back. He's like Orochi, where it's like Oda created these insane devil fruits, or like if you gave it to another person, like in a parallel universe, if Zoro had a devil fruit, he would go crazy with the venom fruit. But instead,
Agreed.
Oda gave it to Magellan and threw him in Impel Down. This guy never leaves. What do you think about S Crocodile getting the stone fruit? Because that's a Paramecia, and sand comes from stone. Pika's in Impel Down.
That would be really cool. It would be kind of similar to the he has the sand fruit, right? I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll sometimes they'll do like the weird thing with devil fruits where they're like Like the soap fruit is actually that Khalifa has is actually the bubble fruit. So I wanted to make sure so I don't sound dumb. Because every time I go on stream and I say something wrong, people are like, Tanuki said something wrong. But it's really similar to the santan fruit in a way because like manipulating the ground, which is basically what Crocodile did. So there might be some sort of like weird connection between those two devil fruits. Also, it would be a stronger devil fruit than the sand one for Crocodile specifically, because Crocodile is like a kind of hands-up fighter, and I think that Logia devil fruits put you at a disadvantage if you're a hand-to-hand fighter, in my opinion. I think that Paramecia devil fruits are far better for combat.
That's an interesting take. I've never heard someone put it that way. Because like when I hear anyone talk about Logia, they're saying, oh, it's top one, best fruit in the story, or best fruits in the story. But I mean, that was a fair point with the Paramecia comparison.
Yeah, well, think about it. Every time there's been like a really strong hand-to-hand fighter, they always have a Paramecia devil fruit or a Zoan devil fruit. So the Zoan devil fruits are obviously like hand-to-hand combat. But if you're like kind of like a speed fighter, especially like Paramecia devil fruits are where it's at. The Mochi fruit, even Magellan's devil fruit, Pika's devil fruit is pretty interesting as well. So there's a lot of those people are like hand-to-hand combat people. So and I see Crocodile as that because of like what happened in Marineford when he was like dueling up with like Doflamingo, which is another one, the string fruit. Doflamingo's a pretty big hand-to-hand like armament hockey fighter. So.
Alright, this is completely random, but like if you could have a devil fruit in the real world, what would it be?
So easy. Law's devil fruit, the Ope no Mi.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that. I feel like most people do.
I say that, but
I do.
say that. Listen, okay, but I say that because I'm a PA and I work in surgery. I'm a surgicalist, so I would like know how to use it. You know what I mean? So like I would be a surgeon technically. So I feel like I could use the fruit better than other people.
I mean, I can't even argue against that. It literally fits your profession. I just wanted it because I thought it looked cool, bro. Making people's like heads pop out, bro. All that, bro. Making people teleport. Imagine like trolling your friends all day, like repeatedly teleporting them.
It would be just fun. It's just a fun devil fruit. Like cut off your friend's hand and like dangle it over.
That's wild. So, what do you think about Garling? Do you enjoy his introduction? Do you think he's going to be a fighter? What are your overall thoughts about him?
So, you know what? Speaking about his introduction, I was spoiled so heavy. I was so mad. A full panel of Figurlin Garland before I read the chapter, because I do like the chapter reacts with Larry. And so I was pissed, and I told Larry, I'm like, I just got spoiled for something really big. So I was spoiled, so I was pissed. So I didn't like his introduction only because I was totally spoiled and I was really mad. But I loved the fact that the Figurlin family is in. I was like, as soon as Film Red came out, I made like so many videos on how the Figurlin family is going to be like the most important celestial dragon family, and it's going to be crazy. And I always was like, oh, Shanks was like hinted in Film Red, so and Uta was supposed to be like a part of it. And then you see that they're like actually the coolest people in the verse. Like, we're on God Valley, probably fought rocks. Like, now they're gonna be hype. I'm excited that they're in the story, and they're gonna be really strong fighters. All
right, so I heard you say Shanks is connected to the Figurlins, which would then make him connected to Garling somehow. But more specifically, do you think Shanks is the son of Garling, a brother, a grandson? What do you think his role is?
So I think what happened on God Valley, and I made like a big theory before the chapter released. So I feel like I was kind of right, but I think that Shanks is probably going to be the son of Figurlin Garling. And when God Valley happened, because we know that he was on God Valley, the Figurlin family was on God Valley because of that little panel that they, for some reason, changed the translation of. I think Shanks was taken away and cannot be welcomed back into the family at this point, really similar to Doflamingo. But because of his status as one of the Figurlin family, that's why he's able to speak to like the celestial dragons and stuff. So I think he's like a direct son to Figurlin Garling. And I think that was the person that we saw in the middle that Dragon was talking about. Because I think that he's like the big leader of the God Knights, and also that person that looks like Shanks is Shanks' father.
I totally agree with all of that. And like you could also look towards the raw Japanese chapters, because when Sengoku was talking to Shanks, he said that he would take responsibility for Marineford, and the Japanese that Sengoku used was as if Shanks was equal or superior to him. And just even in the first place telling Shanks, I'll take responsibility for you, that says a lot. And then you even have the Gorosei where in Japanese they were speaking really polite to Shanks. I always felt like it made most sense that Shanks was connected to a high-ranking Celestial. So I definitely agree with that. I even had like a video a while back about Shanks being the son of a dead Gorosei, but I don't know, Garling's kind of an obstacle right now for me.
To be fair, we don't exactly know where the Gorosei come from. Now, I think it could be possible that all of the Gorosei members do come from, like, the top Celestial Dragon family. So it could be that, like, one of the old Gorosei, like, used to be, like, had some connection to the Figureland family. Or, like, one of the Gorosei currently could be, like, having a connection to the Figureland family and could be connected to Shanks. So there's always that possibility.
What do you think was so important about God Valley?
My favorite thing in One Piece. I will be honest, I think God Valley was probably like 10 times more important than like how Marineford was, where it like put in this brand new age, but also I think it was that power turning. And I think that during that century that Rox and Roger and how everybody was kind of fighting and this was basically an age of pirates, the world government's power was kind of like waning away. And when Rox was like attacking celestial dragons and going after them, people started to fear. And you kind of get what's happening now in One Piece, where it's like there's this pirate group that's rising up, very similar to Cross Guild. People are starting to distrust the Marines and stuff. And so when Rox went to God Valley to, I think, actually challenge the Celestial Dragons and the God Knights directly, or Holy Knights, I should say, is the correct translation. But he probably went there to directly challenge the Holy Knights, to basically say, like, this is the foundation, and I'm going to destroy it. And that was basically, like, if the world government lost on God Valley, that would be it. The world government would have been over. So I think that when they won, when Garp was named, like, the hero of the Marines, it basically solidified the world government's power and their reign until, of course, Luffy's generation. So I think there's going to be a big political thing going on with God Valley, which is going to be so interesting. And then also Rox, my fave, my bae.
Yeah, I like how you said something along the lines of the Marines being betrayed or the Marines being having some turmoil. That made me like think about like what happened in Alabasta. We know that Luffy beat Crocodile and the Marines and the world government tried to credit Smoker. Smoker didn't appreciate that. Do you think there's a possibility that the world government gave Garp the title of a hero, even though he wasn't a hero, similar to Smoker?
Yes, I think that's pretty much, I think it's pretty much inferred that Garp doesn't want to take credit for God Valley because he didn't do as much as, like, he didn't take down Rox. And I think that the world government tried to credit him, like how you said, like what happened in Alabaster. And that's why Garp doesn't want to even talk about it, because I think he's embarrassed about what happened. And we see how strong Garp is. I think that Rox is the strongest person in One Piece, and I think Garp stood no chance. I think that even with Roger's help, the only reason they were also able to defeat them is because the God Knights were there as well. And he probably had to get help from Celestial Dragons, which he hates. So I might get canceled for that. Saying that Garp was probably defeated pretty soundly by Rox, but it seems like that's probably going to be the case.
Yeah.
Bro, you've been going hard lately. Just
hold on, we got a super. I'm not hitting a blinker. Yo, I'm tired of my chat telling me to hit blinkers. They said shout out to Chestnut, found her off that One Piece talk. You've been making content with them for a while, huh?
Are you still going?
Yeah, I actually have been making content with Larry, because I've been doing their chapter reacts since I was at like 5K on TikTok. I wasn't very big, but they found my channel and they liked, I think, like a Blackbeard video I did. And Larry hates Blackbeard, so he was like, oh, I need to get her on. And we just have arguments. Almost as bad as the argument I had with Par over the scientist. That was insane. But I've been doing it for I've been doing the chapter react since January of this year. So like almost like 5 months now.
And is that something you think you're gonna be doing for a while?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I just like talking about the chapters and like theorizing. So I like doing live reacts, and I like doing it with other people. So and Larry always is fun because I disagree with him on so many things. We disagree on so much.
You enjoy debating, huh?
I love debating as long as it's respectful.
Yeah.
I think that like. Because, like, I love talking with, like, Parvision and Mosh. They're probably the two people that I talk to, like, the most and, like, kind of debate with. Especially Par. I feel like me and Par don't agree on anything, but I love Par. But, yeah, I like having these respectful debates. One, I think I'm pretty good at debating, because I talk very fast. And two, I think that it's interesting to have a conversation about things, rather than to just regurgitate or agree. I like when there's that, you know? Ooh, a little grit.
I definitely get that. As long as people are not insulting, like debating can be really fun.
Agreed.
Garland could be a good guy putting up a front.
Nah, make him bad.
Yeah, I don't think we need another good Figureland.
Nah, he's giving endorsing slavery is what he's giving. I think that he's probably going to be one of the most fun people to hate. He's going to be really strong, really cool, and then it's just going to be like, oh, he's so evil. And I love characters like that. That's why I love Blackbeard so much, because like he's fun to just like say like, yo, that's the bad guy. And sometimes you need that in a series. I don't want every villain to just be like Naruto, where it's like, oh my god, they're good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think a lot of characters, especially like the important characters, are written to be unique. Like, I feel like if you had another Figureland that was a good guy like Shanks, it would take away from Shanks. Because like his whole thing, his whole motif is being that Yonko, that pirate that looks out for Luffy, influence Luffy, right? It would just feel kind of weird, especially like the whole Marineford thing, stopping the war, even stopping Kaido. It would just feel weird if we had like another Figureland that was like a good guy and like a hero.
You're spitting, because, and you're right, it would take so much away from Shanks. But Shanks is this figure in the One Piece world that is just so sound in his beliefs, and he's kind of this peacemaker. And I've said this a lot, like Shanks is the neutral force that the One Piece world actually really needs. Because you have the pirates on one side, the Marines on the other side, and they're constantly clashing. Where Shanks seems to be looking out more for the little guy, kind of like Spider-Man, a little bit. He's kind of, he looks out for the little guy. He wants to make sure that everybody is kind of working in the system, but he works within the system rather than working like against the system, like how Luffy does, where he's freeing people. But if there was like another if there was another Figureland that was like that, you're right, it would take a lot of from Shanks, because it's like, what makes him special then? What makes this character so cool? So no, you're spitting. You're totally correct.
So like, just going off like true identities and true ulterior motives, what do you think about Xebec? Are you on the train that he's like a clown, he was a fraud, or do you think he was actually a legitimate force? Because I hear a lot from both sides. I know what side I'm on, but
who were you talking about again? I'm sorry.
Oh, Xebec.
Xebec. Ooh. I think so Rox, I think I've said this a couple times. I think Rox could like beat anybody in One Piece, even currently. That might be a really hot, spicy take. But I think that there are people who, in the One Piece world, are just so far above everybody else that you just can't really reach them with normal means. The one person that I think we know about is Rox, and so I have this kind of reverence for him, kind of similar to how a lot of people have reverence for Roger, and they think that Roger is just this fighter who was able to just best everybody. But I don't see Roger like that. I see Roger as this adventurer who has this like soul of freedom, really similar to Luffy, where he was a very strong fighter and could always kind of, beat his foes, but it wasn't the thing that made him special. For Rox, though, I see him as just this monster that anytime somebody stood in his way, he would do whatever necessary to win and come out on top, regardless of what outcome it may be. So that's kind of the way that I see Xebec, as just this crazy dude who was so vicious. Like, he basically was like a beast rather than a man. And I think you can kind of see this with a lot of his crew members, where they like these people are just monsters. Imagine how strong Rox had to be then. So
Yeah.
I hope that answered it.
No, I agree because, you know, knowing Kaido's nature, I feel like he doesn't take any BS from people. If he was following someone that was weak or even weak-willed, that would seem kind of inconsistent with like his personality. Especially like with how he was treating Luffy and how he was talking to him the whole time. I just don't feel like Kaido would be the kind of person to follow a fraud. Like that right there kind of like throws me. Oh, she's throwing shots. Yo, Par better duck.
Bruh, when Par said that Rox was gonna be like Buggy, my heart stopped.
Look, here's the thing, right? I'm going to die on the Roxy Buggy train, but I'm not. I don't agree that Zebek was a fraud. Basically, like I feel like when Buggy was at Marineford, and he said that he wanted to become king of the world, I feel like that's purely intentional to relate him to Zebek. Especially when we now know that Shanks is a Celestial that was found at God Valley, and he has this like natural rivalry with Buggy. Like, how cool would it be for Shanks to be the son of a holy knight and Buggy's the son of Zebek? And like he has like this dormant conquers hockey because he fails upward. He fails upwards. He just RN Jesus is on his side. I'm telling you, the natural rivalry, red versus blue.
What do you think about Kaido?
You know who would love that theory? My friend Hime. She is like the biggest Buggy stan. That's the girl that I do my podcast with. She is like the #1 Buggy stan. She is so into it. She would love that theory. She'd love it.
Man,
Probably possible, but man.
That was like one of my favorite mega theories because I put that out like so long ago, like way before Film Red. So when we got the confirmation that Shanks was tied to Celestials and he was from God Valley, like my excitement just skyrocketed because it's like it feels like half the theory's true. I'm just waiting on Buggy's lineage.
I think you're right, actually. Like not like you're probably completely right. And because so many people are gonna think that it's Blackbeard, right? I don't want Blackbeard to have any relation to Rox. I just want Blackbeard to be like, just like a regular dude, that basically came to power. But Buggy, like, not to be, not to be that person, but Buggy is the type of character to get every single connection and lineage and power up at the very end to become the most OP character because he's a meme. He's like a meme lord. So I can definitely see it. It honestly, if we get a God Valley flashback and we see like a nose on Rox,
a clown nose on Zebek.
I would die.
I have like let me see if I can find it. Hold on, because I got the greatest picture in the internet history.
Oh my god.
See. In the history of the internet. Yep, I have it right here. Here, let me I'm going to send it to you and I'm going to put it on the I'm putting this on the stream. On the stream screen. That right there is the most glorious picture of all time.
No.
Get hip. We're here for it. Roxy Buggy.
Oda really Oda be lying, you know what I mean? He'll make this incredible like Rox thing and he'll look so cool and then we'll see it and it'll be that.
That's what you're asking for. I that would be so ridiculous. I feel like that would be so Oda. Like,
you're right.
He's such a troll. Like,
I'll never be able to unsee that. I'll never be able to unsee.
I think someone asked top 3 devil fruits. I think it was Preach, like when we started the stream.
Top 3 devil fruits?
Yeah, what are your top 3?
That's hard. If you would have given me like a specific thing, I could have told you.
Top 3 Logias?
3 of like okay, so top 3 Logias, that's easy. One of them is the Glint fruit, the one that Kizaru has. The second one is going to be Aokigis. Is it the ice fruit?
Chill.
Chill. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. They always get you. They're always weird with them.
Bro, I thought I
And
was
then-
the only one. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. They always get you with them. They're so weird. Call them normal stuff. I'll just give you my third one. My third one, is going to be Caribou's fruit because of the utility. I think that he's just a really bad user. The swamp fruit. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
that fruit's
those are my
broken.
top three.
I mean,
It's super broken.
off the bat, it's a Logia, right? So you already got to give points for that. And then I think it was confirmed that he could have like a storage room, right? Can't he like store items inside of himself in like a room, like Blackbeard?
whole people, like whole people.
This is crazy. And yeah, they gave it to the.
Mermaids.
Of course, Oda gives it to the most incompetent character.
Bro, look at Buggy's devil fruit. Buggy's devil fruit is like ridiculous. If he just like used it a little bit, like when he gets that awakening man and he's able to just split like everything.
If Buggy splits atoms, I don't even know. I think the whole planet is doomed.
Nah, he's nuclear Buggy. It's coming.
All right, what are your top 3 Zoans?
I feel like it's a cop out to say I really like Luffy's devil fruit. Spoilers, sorry guys. So I put Luffy's devil fruit, the Hito Nomi Model Nika. I also would probably put Kaido's, the fish Model Azure Dragon. Man, this one's harder then, because there's not like, I guess like as you get closer to the top, it's harder to really decide. You know what? I'll put Altis, just because I like the dinosaur ones, and Alti is one of my favorite characters in Wano. So whatever model her, what is it, like Velociraptor or something? I like her devil fruit.
That's a good list. I mean, especially the Kaido one, the insane durability. Yeah, he had weather manipulation with thunder, fucking wind, the fire. Man, he's basically Rayquaza. Like his fruit's so overpowered, bro.
I stand by my thing that Kaido would not lose to anybody, even Luffy. Like anybody one-on-one if he comes back, he's not losing. Kaido is a monster. And I also think that, you know what's really weird in the anime? They're kind of like hinting towards the fact that he might be semi-awakened, which is weird because it was very ambiguous in the manga if there was actually anything. So I'm wondering if the anime might, you know, make it a little bit like, oh, he was almost awakened, so that if he ever comes back, which it's Oda, you know, I mean, to be fair, he's killing off people now, but he usually doesn't kill off like major characters like that. So when he eventually comes back and he has like this huge like awakening and it's crazy, like top of the verse. Of course, another Rocks pirate being the top of the verse. Who would have thought?
Terrence said, Evil, and you can answer this too, obviously. What do you think about cosmic Logias? A cosmic Logia. I don't even. What is that?
So I made a theory, and I know because I think this is based off my theory where I was like, mythical Logias could definitely be a thing, and I was saying that like a naturally occurring phenomena. So let's say like a Bermuda Triangle devil fruit would technically be like a mythical Logia. And that was my thing, that like Logias kind of need something because, you know, we have like the special Paramecias that basically act like Logias. There's different types of Paramecia devil fruits. There's like the producing and then the standard stuff. Then for Zoan devil fruits, we have like the ancient and the mythical stuff. So I was like, Logias kind of need another form. And he commented that too. So like a cosmic one would be, instead of having what is it? Instead of like being like elements or like stuff on Earth, it would be like raw natural stuff in space. So like raw hydrogen as devil's fruit, or like stuff like that, or like stuff in stars, which could be cool.
That is so creative. Holy shit. That is crazy. That would be considered a Yeah, I guess it would be a Logia. Damn, I've never thought of something like that. I feel like that's something they would probably give like the Holy Knights. Damn.
That's what I was thinking too. Like the top of the verse would probably have devil fruits like that.
That low-key like changed the game. I never even thought of a cosmic Logia. I'm just wait. When did you made this theory? Obviously, right?
I made a theory like it's somewhere. I make a lot of videos. I make so much.
You just record anything that comes to mind.
Yes. That's how it be on TikTok. You know what I mean? But I made this. I made this theory like a little bit back because I was talking about like, oh, I think that like Logias just need another form. So I made like the mythical Logia. It's like kind of explaining what it is. I think I also have a YouTube video where I say that Blackbeard could have a mythical Logia. I do have one. But then that was Terrence, right? And he commented and he was like, yo, what about like instead of a mythical, it was like a cosmic? And I was like, that's so much cooler than mine. Yoink.
Another random, completely irrelevant question. What is your favorite ongoing theory right now?
My favorite? Probably the Red Line theory. I think it's the most sound theory in One Piece, that the Red Line is going to get destroyed and bring everything together.
Jesus.
But I also think... Now you're okay. But I also think that a lot of my theories are based off of the Red Line theory, especially like towards the ending of One Piece. Like, so like my theory about like the Ancient Kingdom and like what the One Piece is like based off of like what happens to the Red Line. So it's probably one of my favorite. Yeah. Who made that theory originally? Ohara or something?
I can't even keep track because like I feel like any YouTuber could post something and then there'll be a dude on Reddit that like posted it like 9 years ago. It's like I feel like everybody's like coming up with the same ideas a lot of the time, so I have no idea.
It'd be like that. Shout out to whoever made that theory. Goated.
What do you think the ancient energy source is?
You know what? I was having a convo with Mosh, and we were talking about that the ancient energy source could actually be electricity. We had this conversation like a while back. I don't know if he ever made a video on it. So some of this stuff is like, because we were like think tanking this. But when you look at the world of One Piece, there are very few places that are actually powered by specifically electricity. And when you look at things that are powered by electricity, like Enel's ship that he had to power himself, it's Vegapunk stuff. So in Vegapunk's lab, they use electricity. And then in like some government facilities, they do. But in other government facilities, you'll see that they use like lanterns and lights. Sometimes you'll also see like coal being used to create energy, and then cola, which, you know, is technically coal for the sunny. And then also like some natural fuel to create like combustion energy. But nothing with electricity. Like you'll never really see power lines in One Piece. And I think it's because there is some sort of connection with Conqueror's Haki, because we see that black lightning, and also what that ancient power source is. So Joy Boy probably had insane amounts of like Conqueror's Haki to the point where it literally could power everything. And then when you look at the Enel cover story, and you see that basically that technology up there has to be something from the Ancient Kingdom, all of it was powered with Enel's electricity. So I would say probably electricity.
I 100% agree. I have a video on that too, so it's fire that I love when like people come to the same conclusions. It's like that makes me think like, okay, something must be going on here. I agree with every single step of the way.
Send that video to me so I can check it out.
I got you. I actually use that as a reason as to why Enel's gonna return. Because I'm like, okay, hopefully it's not Nami using electricity because of Zeus or something. Hopefully Enel comes down from the moon and he uses some kind of like thunder attack or something.
I came to the same, that just means it's right though. Like when you come to the same conclusion on stuff, it's like, okay, and you're right. It's like, okay, like this, it has merit. So I love when like other people think the same thing, because I'm like, yo.
Yeah, and you could get really specific with it too, because when Enel used that electricity, or I guess when he shot a thunderbolt, they refer to that as energy, and then they refer to the location as an ancient city. So they're like outright telling you like ancient cities are powered by an energy source known as electricity. Like they're like on the cover page, I swear it's like spelling it out for you, as well as like if you look at the hieroglyphics in Enel's cover story, there's like this ball, there's like this circle on like both of them, at one moment it's like powered off. It's like a dead light bulb, and then the next page is powered on, as if like it's there's some kind of energy source going on. Especially when Enel was in that ancient city, they had that exact same light bulb there lit up too because of his electricity. Like, it goes so deep because of that cover story.
That cover story is probably one of my favorite cover stories of all time. So good.
There's like so much lore to it. And then like me and the homies, we noticed that on I think it's the first hieroglyphic on Enel's left, there's a symbol on the wall that's like 1-to-1 with the Aztec calendar. It is the exact same thing. So like you could really sit there all day just analyzing one cover story if you really wanted to.
That cover story I think is so interesting too. Not only because of because you kind of brought up the Aztec part, so I won't bring it up because you're probably gonna cook after this. But what's interesting is that it kind of shows that the Skypians, the Shandians, and the Birkins were all kind of from these moons around One Piece, rather than actually kind of originating on One Piece themselves. And I made a theory that the Lunarians most likely didn't come from like the moons, like how we thought. I think that when the Sky People came down to Earth, they saw that the Lunarians looked like them, and they called them Lunarians because they were lunar-like. But I think that they actually came from the core of the Earth, which is why they have fire powers, why they can fly, so they can fly like in and out of like Earth's like crust. And then also why they're so durable, because the farther you get down, the more that gravity is going to act on you, so you need to have tougher skin to be able to resist that. So that's why I like that cover story too, because it kind of gave me a little bit of insight of like, I don't think the Lunarians are from space. I think they're from Earth's core.
Yeah, another way you could look at the Lunarians is like, it seems like they're kind of based off of fallen angels, and we know that they originated, or at least they were at the top of the Red Line at one point. So when you think about the world government going up to the Red Line and kind of kicking the Lunarians off, that could give off the impression that they're fallen angels kicked straight off the Red Line.
Yes. Yes. I think what's cool about the Red Line is that I think that there might be tunnels like coming up, so that the Lunarians had civilizations like up on like the Red Line, and then also like tunneling downward, so that they can kind of like go like up, and then also because they're on the Red Line, they could kind of go all around the Earth, and kind of get everywhere. So kind of like, how am I gonna explain this? Like an entire like circle around the Earth, kind of like a ring, like the rings around Saturn, but that's kind of how the Earth looked like, where it was like this huge ring around it, and then like shooting up were like these people who basically had like little like civilizations there, and everybody traded and stuff. And then I also think like the fishmen probably were on the surface as well, instead of being underneath, because when you look at the fishmen and you look at like a lot of those deep sea creatures, the fishmen would look so much different if they were actually like evolved underneath the ocean. I think that they were above the ocean, and that's why I think they were eventually forced down there, and they had to take like the Eve tree down with them.
All right, next question. This is a big one.
Okay.
This is like my question. I didn't see anyone in the chat ask this, but where is Laugh-Tale?
I was gonna hold up. Let me take a drink of water.
She said, I gotta get ready for this.
All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
So, I think that Laugh-Tale is Atlantis, and here's why. So there's been like a ton of like Greek influences on One Piece, and when you start looking at what the Ancient Kingdom is, it was an advanced civilization that all of a sudden disappeared. If that sounds similar to you, it's because it's Atlantis. Atlantis was a civilization that was smitten by the gods, and they had super advanced technology, and then of course they were cast underwater. What's also really interesting is that nobody can seem to find Laugh-Tale because it's the lost city of Atlantis, and you need to follow the maps to it. When you look, what are they called? The Emerald Tablets. Some people theorize that the Emerald Tablets can actually point you to Atlantis. And the Emerald Tablets have like writing that looks really similar to the poneglyphs. There's also the fact that there's a really fun crackpot theory in the real world that Atlantis is on present-day Ireland, Who was the one person who was researching the Ancient Kingdom? Professor Clover. There's also the fact that Rayleigh is a ship coder. Coincidence that the Roger Pirates made it to Laugh Tale? I think not, because they'd need a ship coder on there, which is probably why Rayleigh went to it. So I would think that it's probably past Lodestar, but it's underneath the water, which is why people keep missing it.
You just blew my mind when you said that Clover thing. Oh my god, my brain just shut down. That was like one of the coolest connections I've ever heard.
Yo, I be cooking sometimes. Let me.
You know what further like supports that idea is you probably have heard of this by now, but Mu might be based off of Mu Kingdom, which is said to be a lost continent, kind of similar to, you know, Atlantis.
I haven't heard that yet, actually.
Oh, well there you go. So then you also have Fishman Island. Maybe Fishman Island is a precursor to whatever we're gonna see for Laugh Tale.
That's I think you're totally right. You know how Oda really likes to parallel certain things, so like when he parallels pre-time skip and post-time skip, there's usually a lot of similarities in his writing. Like you can say that Alabasta and Dressrosa are complete parallels of each other. Some people might say that Skypiea and Fishman Island are parallels of each other, but I don't think so. I think that Skypiea and Wano are parallels of each other because of the flying islands. There was a flying island, obviously, with Skypiea, but then also there was Onigashima that was flying above, and there's a lot of similarities if you look between like the Skypiea lore and kind of what's going on in Wano, with like the fighting, the big baddie who uses lightning, stuff like that. I think that Fishman Island could be a parallel to Atlantis, and that was the precursor where it's like you can travel underwater. Nami knows how to navigate underwater really well for some reason, you know what I mean? Like little stuff like that.
So on the topic of Nami then, now that you mention it, what's going on with Nami? Is she an ancient weapon? Does she just have random innate powers? How do you look at Nami when it comes to her, you know, unique abilities with weather?
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but I am probably the biggest Nami stan in the One Piece community. That's my girl. Okay, so if she says ancient weapon, beautiful. I love it. I think there's probably some sort of like Conqueror's Haki. I think that Conqueror's Haki can be used in many different ways, and I think that there's such a thing called a natural conqueror, very similar to how Vivi made it rain in Alabasta. I think that Nami has something similar, where she can kind of see what's going on with the weather and kind of hear the voice of the weather, similar to like the voice of all things, but it's specifically like weather based. Could she come from like a race of people that did that, or could it be something that very few people actually have like a natural gift for? Like how very few people actually have Conqueror's Haki. Fewer people have these gifts for like navigation, and that's how you can kind of get there. So could she be like an ancient weapon and control Uranus? I would love that. Far more likely, though, that it's going to be something based on Conqueror's Haki, and she might get a lot more explanation in Elbaf, because of the red-haired pirates.
Okay. Okay, so speaking about Elbaf, do you feel like that's where the final road poneglyph is?
No, I don't. Ugh. So TCB actually put out, when they changed their translation during Wano, they changed it from road poneglyph to load poneglyph. And it was interesting because when they changed it, I was like, the first thing I thought about was Lodestar Island. And I think that the last one is probably going to be on Lodestar Island, and it's something that Shanks might actually be protecting. Because I always thought that Shanks, his actual base isn't on Elbaf, it's on Lodestar, which is the final destination before you reach Laugh Tale. But because of that translation thing that they did, I always see the connection between Lodestar Island and the Load Poneglyphs. And I usually call them the Load Poneglyphs now because of that. Because they did like a really detailed thing about it, and I loved it, so...
Shout out to Tainted Marth with the 2, said like D stream, guys, great conversation. Thank you so much, Marth.
Thank you.
And we also have L with the 2. What race do you think the next Straw Hat will be? That's an interesting way of asking who the next Straw Hat is. Do you think we're getting another one? What's your take on the next Straw Hat? Is it Vivi?
You know what? Yes. I don't see any new character joining. Like, I don't see like a new character getting introduced and then them joining. I think because of the last chapter, it's far more likely that Vivi comes back on the crew. I also think Vivi has something to give to the crew. Rather than, I know a lot of people wanted Yamato. I don't see Yamato joining the crew. I don't think that the Straw Hats need another Berserker type character because they got Jinbei now, who's he's pretty strong. He can really hold his own. So we don't need another strength character. But sorry, I hope you guys can't hear that lawnmower outside.
Oh no, you're all good.
Yeah,
You're
my neighbors
chilling.
do their yard every day, like 3 times a day. So, but I think
Obsessive.
they do. I can never sleep.
It's that bad. I would be the Karen to file a complaint.
They're so nice, but they just do their yards so much. It's just, I don't know. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was talking about Vivi. Vivi has like this diplomatic sort of charm, and we see this during Drum Island, where everybody was gonna go headfirst into a fight. Nami and Usopp were like, "Oh, I don't want to fight." The Straw Hats going in, but she was like, "Let's actually look at the situation," and she was able to calm it down. And I think that's what the Straw Hats are missing. Jinbei brings a little bit of that, but at the end of the day, he'll always follow Luffy and kind of do more damage control. Where it's like we kind of need that person to kind of step in and be like, "Hey, let's see what's actually going on first." So I think Vivi could really bring that to the crew. So that's why I'd like to see her on there.
I'm not gonna lie, I really like the idea of Vivi joining, obviously, but Bonnie joining, I feel like Oda can make it work. I just like the concept of Bonnie's father working with Dragon, and then you would have the daughter working with Luffy, which would be the son of Dragon. Like that right there seems really poetic. I feel like Bonnie seeing the memories of Kuma is gonna push her towards some kind of dream, some kind of motive for Oda to keep her relevant in the story. And maybe it's something like rebelling against the world government.
Ancient Egypt mythology, they both
I can see Bonnie joining. I feel like Bonnie might join for like a couple arcs. It might be like Straw Hat Grand Fleet. I don't know if she'll stay on the Straw Hats though, but I do think that there is something to be gained from Bonnie at least joining for another arc and traveling with them to like Elbaf or something like that. I think that'd be really interesting.
And then we had gifted 5 memberships from L. Thank you so much to L. We're at so many members. I can't even believe this. It's like almost 600. Thank you guys so much. What else do we have? Okay, L with a 2 said, "You think Frankie comes from some important family?" I've never actually made a Frankie theory. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, I haven't made a Frankie theory either. I feel like Frankie needs more screen time. Hopefully he gets more with Egghead, but I don't know. I feel like he's just kind of like the everyday pirate. Kind of. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's not going to be like super important lineage wise.
Yeah, I mean, Oda, he like skipped over it for a reason. I feel he was just like when he the one time he actually addressed Frankie's parents, he just quickly marked them off as pirates. It doesn't really seem like it needs to be important, especially since we know his relationship with Tom, which could seem as it could seem like a father figure anyways. Yeah, I mean, I know there was that one theory recently where people hypothesized the ship that Frankie got hit by and got on top of is the Mad Ship. I don't know if you saw that theory.
Yeah. I saw that one. Could be.
That has to be like one of the very few theories or things I've even seen like hypothesized about Frankie, because like I agree, he doesn't get enough screen time.
Yeah, I think whoa, I almost just slipped and fell everywhere.
Chill.
Listen, my chair is like way shorter, so I'm used to like going out, and I didn't do it right. But I was gonna make something stupid and be like, oh, Frankie is a botched clone from Vegapunk, and just throw that out there.
That is tin foil.
I hate the clone theories. I don't know if you know this. I think that the clone theories, I hope that they die along with Vegapunk when he eventually, gets offed. But
Why do I feel like you're
funny.
hating? I feel like you're hating, bro.
I am hating.
You
Listen,
are-
I'm the number 1 op, okay? Like
You're the number one op. Yo. But Vegapunk, Stella, bro. Dragon co-sign Stella.
You know what I mean? A little 1-2. We already saw Shaka just get, you know, raw as hell. I don't think Vegapunk is surviving though. I think that a lot of the information is either going to get passed on to Frankie as like a successor, or it'll get lost, and they're gonna have to try to rediscover it. And I think that might make finding Laugh Tale even more important to somebody like Robin, because somebody who knows so much got like basically killed again by the world government. Which there's a lot of O'Hara references in Egghead Island right now, so it'd be really cool to kind of cement the fact that it's like, this is serious, people are dying because of this, and this needs to get out to as many people as possible.
And then we got 5 from Javi. Thank you so much, man. He said, look up Mu in Cthulhu and Mu in ancient Egypt mythology. They both tie to mythical islands, and the one is Egypt, or I think he meant the one in Egypt is literally called the Land of Mu. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me.
I think that there's a connection that Oda is trying to make. I'm not sure exactly where he's gonna take it though, but there also is a lot of connection with like Atlantis, Egypt. There's like a really big like link between everything for some reason, like Egypt, ancient Greece, and then also like biblical stuff. And you kind of see a lot of those references in One Piece, especially with Alabasta kind of coming into more significance now. We could see something of that come up. So it's something to kind of connect the dots. But I don't have anything yet. I'd have to do more research into that.
Yeah, I like the way I'm looking at Emu is like they had to have had their own kingdom. I'm wondering if Emu destroyed their own kingdom or just left them remaining. And you know, either way, we might get to see the name of that kingdom and see what their lifestyle was like and get more information on Emu. So I'm just thinking like, okay, well, what if this Mu name comes from the kingdom? Like maybe he adopted that name or that nickname of Mu from where he's at. Like I feel like he has to have a kingdom, right? He was one of the founding 20.
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it? That there were 20 founding kingdoms, right? Or no, there would have had to been, right? There would have to be only 20 people because they all came together and went against the ancient kingdom. So that was the original world government, meaning that you're right. One of the 20 kingdoms would have had to been where Emu came from, Emu of Nerona, which is interesting that Emu's real name is like Emu, instead of it being something else, because I always thought it would be a cover. You know what I mean? Like, why use your actual name? But I don't know where they would come from. I don't actually know if we were told all 20 kingdoms. Were we ever told like all 20 kingdoms that
No,
came?
I think we only have like 4 of them. We got the Don Quixote, the Figureland. I don't know why they're not coming to me. I saw someone made like a list because they typed it out on Twitter. Does someone in chat know? How many of the families do we know about for the founding 20?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess Emu of Nerona, so that would be Nerona?
Nerona.
Unless that's the unless it's just the place, and there's like a country called Nerona. That would be interesting, because that would be another place that would probably have to be visited. Oda ain't finishing in 5 years. What do you say? Like, there's 5 years left?
Yeah,
there's 10
right.
Years left there's 10 years left for One Piece. Oh, the Nefertari, yeah. So yep, the Nefertari family was one of them. The Don Quixote family. The Figureland family. Nefer? Nerona? Oh, he meant Nerona. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we know any of them else. There's probably going to be some lore dive into the the Celestial Dragons and their last names. Oh, Roswald. Okay.
Roswald, Don Quixote, Figureland. Yeah. I agree. We're definitely gonna hear about the other 20. I feel like. L said, "Thank you for the 5L." He said, "Which character do you think is the best written one?" I guess he means in all of One Piece. Who is the best written character in One Piece?
It's Nami.
Nami?
You should see the in-depth analysis I do on this character. On my fave, on my bae, the best character in One Piece. I actually just really enjoy her writing. I think it all depends though, because I feel like if Blackbeard gets like a little bit more shine, like his writing is going to be perfect. He is my favorite scene in One Piece is his speech, and you see the parallels between Luffy and Blackbeard. So I would probably say if Blackbeard was a little bit more developed, I'd probably put him at the top. But if we're talking about just like overall like development, writing, like character growth, it's Luffy because he's just had so much. And in the world of One Piece, like everybody is so amazingly developed. If Oda just gives you more time, you're just gonna be that much better. So probably Luffy, if I'm being actually honest. But Nami because I'm biased.
At least you're able to be honest when you're biased or not.
Super biased.
I gotta say Zoro. Who would have fucking thought? It's not like I said Zoro 100,000 times. Anyways, no, I think Zoro was written to do a specific thing in One Piece. He's supposed to be playing a specific role. And I think when it comes to playing that specific role, he does it so well. Like, he doesn't need like this super deep, complicated backstory. He doesn't need all this questioning and anxiety that you see in a lot of characters. He's very straightforward a lot of the time, and I feel like Oda does it in a very good way. And like, you know, just the whole thing of, you know, loyalty to his captain, the whole thing of respect in Luffy, and then at the same time, like, you know, looking over Luffy's shoulder to make sure that Luffy's being a true captain. I think Zoro just plays his role just phenomenally.
Zoro's like a really underrated character when it comes to his writing.
Underrated.
Super underrated. Because you'll see it, like his development over One Piece, because like he starts off as like a person who really doesn't care about other people and just really wants to have this dream for him and Kuina, and you kind of see him develop into this like co-captain role, and as like this, I always say it, the moral backbone of the Straw Hats. Without Zoro kind of telling them, hey, this is how things have to be done if you want to run a crew, like this is how we should be like having ourselves and really representing ourselves, they wouldn't do it. So yeah, Zoro's super underrated, and I think that people think just because he doesn't have like the focus that Sanji did, that he's a bad character, but he's not. Zoro's amazing.
How do you think, or how do you feel about Zoro's role in Wano?
You know, you want to know my actual spicy hot take?
Yeah.
Zoro was completely fine in Wano, and it was people's expectations that it was Zoro's arc that I think really got them kind of upset at how he was handled in Wano. Because he had a lot of shine in Wano. His fight with King, especially in the anime, I think. I think that the anime is actually better than the manga, specifically for Wano. That also might be a really hot take. But, I mean, his fight with King, his entire thing with Hiyori and the sword, because, like, I know that he got Enma, and then he had to give back Shisui, and it's like, I understand why people were expecting a little bit more, and they expected him to visit Ryuma's grave. I think that he did, and it was important, and there was information that was so important there that he's going to remember later, and that's why Oda hasn't brought it up, and that, you know, they kind of just left it very open and ambiguous, because I think that he's leaving it open to bring back later. So I actually enjoyed Zoro in Wano. I think that he got the shine that his character really deserved, especially more than some of the other Straw Hats, which really didn't get a lot of shine, like Usopp. Didn't get nothing.
Not even a fight.
No, he had to get saved by Izo, man. Which Izo's a cool character, don't get me wrong, but couldn't even do that. But yeah, I think that Zoro was properly utilized in Wano. I'd rather him show up more in later arcs. Like, I think he's really well written in Egghead. I actually love Zoro in Egghead Island. But Elbaf specifically, I think would be his arc. like his arc more so that like he's going to get a lot more focus in Elbaf rather than in Wano. So yeah, I don't know if you agree with me though.
Yeah, I agree, but with a what would I call it? Like a cliff note. I just feel as if Oda kind of like set that expectation. And, you know, just being that they're the land of samurai, the land of the sword, Ryuma's from Wano. We've known for a very long time like that was gonna be like the pinnacle of swordsmanship for One Piece. So like while I do try not to have my expectations too high because it's not worth it in the end to do that, I almost feel like Oda set up a lot of people to feel that way, you know?
You know what? I agree with you there. I think Oda sometimes overblows certain things too. Like he'll set certain things up and like say certain things that he doesn't carry through with, or things that he knows will get viewers hyped up. Like you remember that interview where he was like, Kaido won't go down with a punch, and then Kaido went down with just a really big punch.
Yep.
That made me really. I was pissed. I was so mad. Because that expectation is there. And I understand why people are upset about Zoro because of that expectation. Because I was upset at the end of Wano. I actually really disliked Wano when it ended first. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, Oda doesn't... Like this is... It was one of the worst ended arcs. Until I, like, went back and read it, and I was like, without that expectation, it's a lot better. But because Oda does put that stuff in, oh, I was so pissed.
You're one of the few people that I heard actually get angry at the punch, because I was very angry with it too. Well, not angry, but I didn't appreciate it at all. I remember I was actually live streaming the chapter reactions at that time, like how I do now, and like those last few chapters leading up to Bajan Gun and its completion, like that was just painful. Like I remember like when we saw Luffy win the exchange between him and Kaido with the big punch, I was so pissed, and I couldn't stop saying out loud, Oda said he wouldn't use a punch. Oda said he wouldn't use a punch. And I ended the stream within like 20 minutes. And like, don't get me wrong, that's extremely childish of me, but like I at the time I hated it so much that he did that. But just like you, I went back and I'm like, okay, I could see this differently now. You know, maybe don't get me wrong, Oda can contribute a little bit, but there's just so many ways of looking at things, man.
Nah, you're right. When you go back and so I went back and I reread Wano because it was because I wanted to see if it was better binged, because I caught up during the Odin flashback to the manga. So I was reading because I was like, manga is like super good, so I caught up and I was there. I was there for the Gear 5 reveal, which I loved. I thought it was a really good use of Luffy's character, the stuff that they've been kind of giving us in Wano, a really good progression for that. But man, the ending of Wano was just week to week. I did not like it, and I was really mad. And I remember getting because I made a TikTok about that, man, and people were giving me so much hate. They're like, yo, why are you like why do you hate this? This was good. And I was just like, there was that expectation that Oda and when Oda sets these expectations, he usually meets it. Every ending to an arc has been phenomenal. He has a great track record. Like, name an arc that ended poorly, you can't. But for Wano, because he was kind of hyping this up, I was like, okay. I was mad, I was upset, I was like, you know, Oda needs to not say things then. He needs to stop putting these things in. Stop saying things in SBSs that relate to the story at hand, because I had something that wasn't met, and I was mad. Going back and reading it, especially like binging Wano, it was really good. And it's really fast-paced, actually, compared to like Oda's usual stuff. But Egghead Island is also like ridiculously fast-paced, and he kind of like perfected it. So there's some pacing issues with Wano as well, but the actual ending of Wano post the Kaido fight, I actually really enjoyed, with like Shanks and kind of Green Bull showing up. But nah, I agree with you. It was
So staying on the topic of expectations, we have characters like Usopp, right? He didn't get a fight in Onigashima. He's not growing that much as a character. I guess we can argue he sniped Sugar from a distance or whatever. That's a little bit of Conker's or observation foreshadowing. I feel like Usopp could get a lot more love. And, you know, a lot of people run with the sentiment, wait till Elbaf, wait for Elbaf, wait for Elbaf, wait for Elbaf. What is your take on like Usopp's role in the story and that whole, you know, I almost feel like it's an Oda Angel thing to say when you're like, wait for Elbaf, but not necessarily, not Oda Angel, that's that Usopp Angel.
Nah, I agree with you. I think that if Usopp isn't going to get fights, he needs to show stuff with his character as well. What would have been really nice is maybe have him do a speech to the samurai or something, like really hype somebody up, because that would not only show character growth of him, like, hey, like, I know that this could be deadly and some people might not come back, but we need to do this. Something like that in Wano, I think would have made it so much better, because we wouldn't have had this just nothingness from his character. I think that's probably one of Oda's weakest points with his writing, is that certain Straw Hats don't get the shine that other ones do, and it's hard because, you know, obviously the popular ones are going to get it. Like, Luffy, Nami, and Zoro will always get screen time because they're incredibly popular. The only time Nami didn't was obviously during Dressrosa. The only time Zoro didn't was because of Whole Cake, which I actually like that Oda split up the crew because it gave him more time to focus on these characters, which is why, oh, Brook is the MVP of Whole Cake Island. Well, yes, the first time he actually was able to show up and show his stuff without being overshadowed by some of these other characters. So I hate when the Straw Hats split up, but I understand why Oda does it, and that's why those arcs are so good. Dressrosa and Whole Cake Island are good because he was able to specifically focus on certain Straw Hats. But you're right, Usopp really hasn't had anything. I think that his showing in Egghead Island has also been pretty lackluster, so I'm hoping that if Oda isn't going to give him the fighting aspect, he needs to start delving more into his character. And if he does that, it'll be nice, but nah, he's kind of teetering on the edge of me for right now.
All right, I agree with all of that, by the way. I really like how you explained the whole Brook thing too, because for the longest, I've been wanting to see him grow, and I can't wait to see him reunite with Laboon. So just hearing how you broke that down, like it makes me feel reassured that Oda won't fumble him.
Nah, you probably will see the Straw Hats split up. This is my theory prediction. The Straw Hats will probably split up 2 more times before the end of the series. I know
2 more.
There's going to be 2 more times. It's going to suck, but I think it's going to be necessary to develop certain characters. I can see half of the Straw Hats going to Elbaf and half of them not. It's a fear of mine because I don't want them to split up, but I can see them splitting up because I think Oda wants to work with the characters more. I could also see like Straw Hats that maybe haven't gotten the screen time. Like I could see an arc without Zoro or Sanji coming up. Not a big one, but a small one, so that they can focus on developing Jinbei, Frankie, Brook, Robin, having these people really step into their power type field. I think that would be probably good for a couple things. Maybe not even split up. Maybe just like Zoro and Sanji get captured or something, or they're busy like protecting stuff, and we really see the other Straw Hats pull up.
And Slanted with the 5, thank you so much. He said, wouldn't be surprised if Imu destroyed his own country of origin, Diavolo style, to hide traces of his origin.
I can see that. I think Imu is just Imu's going to be that evil character. That evil character that you don't like, you want to see defeated, and you can't even feel sorry for. I think that if Oda really like harps on that fact that it's like, this is just pure evil, it'll be really nice. I've made a couple connections to the ending of Full Metal Alchemist and to the ending of One Piece, where it's like that the god type character, the character that wanted to become god, and you know had everything and like basically became god at the end before Edward defeated him. Or it's like you just don't like him as like he's a very interesting character, and despite his backstory, you're like, how could you? And I think that Imu is going to be a very similar character to that.
I think Imu being foreshadowed through Nero or having some kind of relationship to Nero is such a cool concept. And like even with the Nerona sounding like Verona, I think we were talking about that the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel, because if you guys don't know, Verona is what, a city in Italy, right?
Yep.
And Romeo and Juliet were from that city, right?
Yes, they were.
And Romeo and Juliet killed Romeo, right? If I'm not mistaken.
So at the end of Romeo and Juliet, so technically she does, because she takes a potion that makes her sleep, and basically she looks like she's dead. Romeo sees this and is like, "Oh my gosh! Like, I can't believe this. The love of my life is dead." So he stabs, he drinks the poison, right? And then Juliet wakes up and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I was alive the whole time," and then takes Romeo's sword and stabs herself and dies. And that's how the ending of Romeo and Juliet is. Technically, they both killed each other because Romeo couldn't wait 5 seconds, but...
That's why I'm saying, like, all that whole thing you just broke down, like, that sounds like some emu, Joy Boy, Lily manipulation stuff.
I can definitely see... One second.
Yo, this man Jabriel. No, it's all good. This man Jabriel is obsessed with Boa. I want to put him on the spot and roast him so bad.
Yo, I think Boa is underrated in strength. I think that she's really strong, actually. I like Boa's character. I think she's cool. Like, I like strong female characters. I'll say it, okay?
I mean,
a controversial opinion.
Her fruit's crazy. I feel like there's some room for Oda to get wacky and creative with it. You know, even if you consider like those stone people, when you're going up the staircase of Marie-Joie, you remember those stone statues things? Those could be legitimate people that were turned to stone. Maybe they find a way to reverse it or manipulate it or cheat it. I don't know, but I feel like there's a lot of opportunity.
I think that it could be really cool if her Devil Fruit Awakening, because I think that because her Devil Fruit is based on Medusa, right? I think it'd be really cool if her Devil Fruit Awakening made her ugly like Medusa, with like snakes in her hair. I feel like that would be the perfect awakening, where it's like she can just turn anybody to stone. Then anybody who looks at her turns to stone like regular Medusa, and it might be cool. But I do think that those stone people are probably from her Devil Fruit. I think you're onto something, because remember that she said when Blackbeard like held her, and she was like, even if you take my Devil Fruit, like all of your people that are turned to stone, they're gonna stay stone. Which is probably why the world government wanted Boa on their side in the first place, to try to see if they can maybe unfreeze a couple people, or because her power is so great, and probably why Blackbeard went to get her too. I think Blackbeard's playing 4D chess, man. This man is too smart.
He's unreadable. Like, when we got that panel about, oh, I'm gonna go claim the prize, no one was saying Boa. Like, literally nobody was thinking Boa. Which, by the way, what's up with that? What are your thoughts on Blackbeard going for her fruit?
I had a real big crackpot theory, that the reason he went for his fruit is because he didn't know that Boa couldn't unfreeze people. So he thought that if you had that Devil Fruit, you could unfreeze people turned to stone already. And that he specifically wanted to unfreeze a certain character. Could be somebody like Captain John, or like one of the Rocks pirates, maybe. I think that could be really interesting if that's what it was, and that there's like some hidden like history there. Could also be that there was somebody turned to stone during the Void Century that he wanted to unfreeze as well. I think that could have been really cool.
Do you see Zabek coming back?
So, my big thing, and maybe it's Naruto trauma, okay? This could all be Naruto trauma. I really don't like characters coming back into the story unless it's through a flashback. Because I think that once you start to add characters from the past, it takes away from present characters, and it also takes away like that death thing. So I think one of the worst things that Naruto ever did was like bring back all of these characters. Like, he brought back Asuma. Oh my god, why? There's no reason. It ruined his character, and it was like, okay, well, like that goodbye that we had like back in the beginning of Shippuden doesn't make any sense. Imagine if they bring back Rocks and he's like, oh, I'm sorry for everything I did. You know, it just leave characters from the past in the past. Don't bring back Odin. You know, don't. And I know that Moria's Devil Fruit could be used like for their bodies and stuff, but I hope it's not. I hope that that's more so used for people that we haven't seen, or just like big scary monster guys, or like even the threat of bringing back Rocks but never actually bringing him back into the story. I'd rather him just stay in the past with these other characters.
I agree 100%. And me growing up with Naruto and seeing how Kishimoto kind of fumbled here and there, especially with like the Black Zetsu Kaguya stuff, Like that was heartbreaking. Like I was legit watching Naruto every Saturday at like 8 p.m. because a new episode is coming on, and I would like beg all my friends in elementary school to watch Naruto. And like the whole Edo Tensei, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a fan of it. The whole Black Zetsu stuff, I like Oda, just play it safe. Just give us a flashback of him, right? That's gonna feel the same as seeing him fight current day anyways. Either way you're seeing him fight or talk and interact with the story, it doesn't matter if it's current or flashback, right? So just leave him alone.
I think that God Valley is I think there's two things in One Piece that are going to just blow everybody's mind. The first thing is God Valley, and the second thing is the reveal of the Ancient Kingdom and what happened with Joy Boy. I'm more excited to see God Valley because of what happened with Rocks. I also think that there's going to be a lot more fights, and with the way that the One Piece anime has been handling fights, could you imagine like Vincent Chainsaw doing Rocks versus Roger? I mean, it titillates the mind, honestly. But I think that the God Valley flashback is not only going to show a lot with like why current day One Piece is like it is, but also just a lot into like how the old generation was really it, and how the new generation has so much to actually step up and kind of be like, hey, we've surpassed them. And so when we see that God Valley flashback, it is just going to be mind-blowing. So one of the things that I'm really excited to see, and I think that once we see the God Valley flashback, mentioning Rocks, totally okay. Never want to see him again. I don't want to see him come into the present day story as a zombie. No more Naruto.
All right, I hate to ask you this, but L is making me ask you this because he super chatted, and I can't ignore super chats, so he chats me. He said, "Do you think Luffy will end up with Nami US?"
No, I'm very sorry. L was his name, right? Like the Death Note guy. Pretty cool. I don't see Luffy ending up with anybody, because I don't think that One Piece is going to do the Boruto, the Bleach route where they show them afterwards. I think that One Piece is going to end when it ends. So once they reach Laugh Tale and get everything, that's when it's going to end. And because there's been no romance so far, they're not going to force a romance. And I think it's better to leave that open, where it's like, yeah, maybe he did, eventually develop this, maybe he did go with Boa. Like, I don't see romance being a big part of One Piece. And you can actually tell, like, a lot of the Straw Hats, except for, like, maybe Sanji, like, Nami has no interest in, like, romantic stuff. Robin has no interest, because their love right now is their love of adventure. And it's one of the most refreshing things. If I wanted to watch a love story, I would just watch, I would go watch Fruit Baskets, or I'd go watch Sailor Moon, where Usagi and Tuxedo Mask are doing The Office but worse for like 5 seasons. So it's refreshing that there's no love in One Piece, and it's kind of all focused on the story. So probably not. I'm very sorry.
So you don't see like Luffy even having kids?
I don't think that Oda will ever show that. I don't think he wants to do Two Piece.
So okay, more specifically, what does the final chapter of the story look like in your head?
I think the final chapter of the story is kind of this. So I think One Piece ends on a big party, just because every arc has ended on a big party. So there's going to be some sort of big party. We're going to kind of see, the world changing. We'll see what happens around with the world government. And then the final thing that we see is Luffy taking a straw hat and giving it to somebody else, and kind of continuing that sense of adventure, where it's like, we just see Luffy, he could be totally grown up, but we just see Luffy take a straw hat and give it to somebody else. And it ends with like some random kid getting this straw hat. And it just says like, this is the start, this is the dawn of romance, because, romance dawn. And that's how it ends. And that's it.
Okay. I mean, that seems like a really safe approach. Like, I would compare that to like chapter 1000, where I remember like all the theories about it. People thought we were gonna see Emu, Vegapunk, Dragon, Blackbeard was gonna go. Like, and Oda took the really safe, sympathetic route. Like, look at our main character. He's such a hero. Let's not make it too confusing. Let's not drag it out and try to milk a two-piece. That feels like a really safe approach that Oda would probably take. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll probably, so here's the thing. If you actually look at how One Piece is going right now, I think that Eam might be trying to basically be like a Full Metal Alchemist villain and try to like basically have this godhood and gain this power. And you can kind of see like a lot of similarities between how Oda is trending towards ending One Piece and then also how the ending of Full Metal Alchemist was. So I could see there being some sort of, you know, like Winry and Edward kind of like getting together at the end. There could be, but I just don't see it. I think it's just going to end like very solemnly with like there's a new hope in the world, like this is nothing related to Luffy, like, and that's it. And then we'd be done with the story.
And Jabriel, thank you for the 5. He said Luffy's gonna end up with Boa Hancock. Don't play with my queen at L. Thank you, L, for your super, of course. But they're having a super chat war over Boa and Nami. I don't really get the Luffy Nami one, personally.
I think it's like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, they're kind of cute together. I don't mind having them as a ship. Wouldn't be my OTP, but I like them. You know what I mean? They're kind of just like cute. It's just like, you know, Nami hits Luffy. She cares about Luffy. Luffy cares about Nami. It's the erratic people, the straight men, and the funny guys. So I can see it.
Someone asked if you have a theory about the One Piece.
I do have a theory about the One Piece. Shameless plug to the first video on my channel. Go ahead, check it out, guys. Sorry.
It's all good.
I think the One Piece is the cornucopia. It's a giant horn. So I think that the One Piece is going to be a thing that creates an infinite amount of food, but also can be used like the Horn of Jericho. And when you blow into the horn, not only does it shoot out massive amounts of food, but it can tear down walls. And so it's kind of related to the Red Line theory, where it can tear down the Red Line, as the Horn of Jericho did. Because I see so much biblical symbolism in One Piece, and then also I see a lot of like Greek mythological influences. So I kind of mesh those two together. A lot of people think the One Piece is going to be a musical instrument, and I agree. But I think that a horn would be far funnier than just like a drum. And there's also a lot more uses for it. Like Luffy could slide down it. It probably looks wacky, like a Dr. Seuss type horn, where it's just like there's all these bells and whistles. So that's what I think it is.
I really like the part you said. It shoots out food.
Yeah,
that part of the theory is
cornucopia.
insane. That's definitely. I mean, like, look at what Luffy did to, what was it, Curry, whatever Wano Town it was. Like, he was straight feeding people, shooting, throwing food everywhere. Like, and then you said it could tear down walls. Mm-hmm. Nah, like, that's too convenient. Like, that lines up too good. Because I feel like most One Piece fans would agree that the Red Line's going to be destroyed, or at least parts of the Red Line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that probably at least where Mary Joie is, that's going to be destroyed, and that strip is going to be destroyed, and it'll open up everything. So
definitely. Let's see. Oda himself is so excited for the final arc. Can't believe he's already decided the end. What's your favorite part of the story right now? You know, being we're in the final saga, we're seeing Blackbeard make moves, Shanks, Luffy, Cross Guild. What part of the story are you most interested in?
Oh man. So I actually like Egghead is in my top 3 arcs of One Piece now. Because you're right, there's just so much stuff going on. I would say, as somebody who really enjoys Blackbeard as a character, as an antagonist, as a villain, I love that we're getting more focus on him, especially with one of the chapters. So I actually did a coloring of the Aokiji manga thing for OP scans, which was kind of fun to do. I like coloring them. I might do one for TCB if they ask me to. I'm talking to Fizo. But I think that there's a lot of cool parallels to Luffy that you see with Blackbeard's crew. The fact that he was able to like eat drinks with Aokiji and they were all kind of joking around. The fact that the crew basically kind of looks like Luffy's crew. And I think that parallel is going to be really good because when we see them at the end, it's kind of like Batman and the Joker. 2 sides of the same coin. And it's my favorite like villain archetype. So probably the Blackbeard stuff, especially when he beat Law. Oh my gosh. Hime, you should definitely have Hime on too. I'll have to give her, your Discord so you can set that up.
Yeah, definitely.
She's like a huge Law fan. She was so mad at me. I was like DMing her and I was like, how's it feel? doesn't like Blackbeard at all. I was like, how does it feel, Hime? How does it feel? And I would like send her like panels, just the panel again and again of Blackbeard. I'm like, huh, you know, maybe I'll take your devil fruit, maybe I'll sell it. I don't know.
To be honest, hating Blackbeard, that's a red flag.
Yeah, you know, she hates Blackbeard and she's Canadian, so that's two.
Did you say and she's Canadian? Nah, that's crazy. I feel like if I said that to my chat right now, they get mad as fuck.
Me and Hime are like best friends though, so I'll send her. I'm gonna send her this. I'm gonna send her the clip. I'm gonna be like, go to this timestamp.
Yeah, I mean, if it's your friend, if it's your close friend, you could just say whatever you want half the time. Like, I talk crazy to my best friends.
Oh my gosh, yeah, me and Hime are besties. She's funny though. She has some like really cool takes and theories, but man, her Law love. She likes Law and Doflamingo.
I mean, those are some of the best characters. I mean, I gotta rock the Dofi shades for the logo.
Oh,
that's how dedicated I am to the Heavenly Demon.
Yeah, but she likes him because he's hot. No, she likes his character too. But man, when that cover story came out with the baby bird, she was like, "See, he isn't all bad." I'm like, "Hime, what about the people he murdered?" And she's like, "No, it's okay." I'm like, literally the definition of I can fix him. Oh.
This is an interesting question. I want to hear what you think about this one. Do y'all think we go to Laugh Tale before the world government fight?
Ooh.
Hitting Blackbeard is a red flag.
Now, Oda be lion. As Larry always likes to say, Oda do be lion. Oda did say, I think I'm not sure if it was an interview in SBS, I'd have to find it, but that when Laugh Tale, like when the One Piece is shown, that's basically it for the series. Do I believe him? No. I don't believe anything this man says anymore. Unless it's in the manga, that's it. So, I think that the war will probably happen first before they reach Laugh Tale. But there could be a way that they go to Laugh Tale, realize that they can't access the One Piece yet, and that they have to wait. So there could be something going to Laugh Tale, reaching Laugh Tale, being unable to access the One Piece, and then going back, finish off the war, and then go back. But, yeah.
Wait, just so I understand you correctly, are you saying that Luffy would fight Blackbeard first, or Emu?
So here's the thing, right? There is a possibility that Blackbeard and Luffy team up against some of these people. There is a very slight chance. I would say that Blackbeard is going to be Luffy's final fight, though. So, I could see it all depends. Will Blackbeard actually reach Laugh Tale first, and, like, that's where they're gonna fight? I doubt it. I think that if Luffy has, like, a fight on Laugh Tale, it would most likely be Shanks' crew. Because that'd be the only way I could see, like, Luffy and Shanks actually, like, fighting over that. Like, a rite of passage type thing. I would say that Blackbeard would fight Luffy probably on Mary Joie. But maybe Lodestar Island? Like, right before they get there? I don't know. This is a hard one.
When I think about, like, Luffy fighting Blackbeard and Emu, it's just, I feel like there's gonna be a problem because it's like, who's Dragon gonna fight? You know, I guess he could help fight against Emu and then get defeated or something like that. I guess he could also 1v5 the Gorosei. I don't know, with Luffy always taking down the big bad, I feel like Emu has to be Luffy's battle, but it's just like, I don't know who to put in for, you know, the dragon fight. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that with the introduction of the Gorosei, and that they're, like, really, like, strong, and they kind of noted that, like, they're really strong, I would say that Dragon could actually fight the strongest Gorosei member instead. But we'd need to see the Gorosei kind of step out before we do that. So I would say maybe because Emu is kind of like, well, I'm assuming that Emu is probably going to get revealed to the public pretty soon, and that whatever happens on Egghead Island, that event, is going to then translate to news spreading that there's, like, an actual hidden person in the world government. And I could see Emu stepping to light, sending out the God Knights, and then, or Holy Knights, whatever translation you want to use, and then also the Gorosei members. So I could see like Sabo taking on like one of the Gorosei. I see a Gorosei dying on Egghead. I see Saturn dying, and he's the first Gorosei to die. And then I see some of these other Gorosei kind of stepping up and starting to actively go out into the world. So I guess it depends which one you think is the strongest, but I can see that happening.
All right, you just had a spicy take. You just said you see Saturn dying on Egghead. You got to run that by me. What?
So, I think that what happens on Egghead Island will mirror what happened on God Valley. And my friend Zaki actually made a theory that God Valley was so important because Rox actually killed one of the Gorosei members. We know now that the Gorosei are celestial dragons, and some of the Gorosei members could have actually been part of the Figureland family or part of those Holy Knights. And so when everybody kind of converged on God Valley, there was a Gorosei member on there to protect people. But Rox killed one of them. And that's why the one Gorosei member that we see, the really young one, I totally forgot all of their names. I think he's Venus, maybe?
Jupiter.
It's Jupiter. Yeah, that's the one. You knew exactly. But yeah, so I think that Jupiter was probably added after God Valley, and that's why he looks so much younger than the rest of them. And I really liked that theory. And I think that if that theory is true, and Zaki was right, which sometimes he is, what happens on Egghead would mirror that. Or one of the Gorosei, we see him kind of act up, we see Luffy go at him, Egghead is destroyed by a Buster Call, which I think happens. I think Egghead ends with a Buster Call and the island being destroyed. And so total, like, chaos. We see one of the Gorosei members dies, which really sets off the world government, because then it's like, now you have to replace one of the Gorosei members, which could also lead to another Figureland getting pushed up into the Gorosei ranks. I can see then Emu making their move, because now people are actively going. It's another rock situation. The D-Clan is going back up. Akainu finally gets to make his move. The Straw Hat Grand Fleet obviously rallies behind Luffy. And then we see certain pirate crews choose their alliance. So I think that's how Egghead ends, and it'll be really chaotic and fun.
I strongly agree with that too. I feel like Oda's setting up a lot of destruction here. You look throughout the story, the Straw Hats take win after win after win, or at least according to the news. We could argue Sabaody, they took a loss, but literally like every other island, they're defeating this person, they're grabbing this person, like they are like steamrolling their way through the world. So when we see that Egghead is going to have this unthinkable incident that shocks the world, it makes me think that maybe what shocks the world is something bad for the Straw Hats. What shocks the world is a death, like something that's like very extreme. And like that's why I think like it's going to be destroyed. You also have all the parallels to Ohara throughout the arc of Egghead. You're repeatedly hearing about Ohara, and I think that's Oda nudging us in the direction that this island's going to get destroyed. I feel like the world government might have the approach where they look at Vegapunk and they're like, you know what, we can't trust you anymore, to the point that we're just gonna blow all this up because we don't like you anymore, and we don't want nobody taking advantage of this. Like that seems like in their nature, especially, sorry to drag this on, but especially since Vegapunk has some ancient kingdom knowledge. When you think about Ohara, that was one of the leading reasons they Buster called it in the first place. Accusations of the ancient secrets, ancient knowledges, taboos in the world. So yeah, I 100% agree that they're gonna straight nuke Egghead.
We're mind roping right now.
For sure.
Oh, so good. And the connection to Ohara is my favorite part, though. But yeah, sorry.
It's all good. Prez said hating on Blackbeard is a red flag in quotations. Is that a wrong statement?
Not to me. Not. You have probably one of the only other Blackbeard fans on.
I will ride or die for Blackbeard.
Oh my gosh, thank God.
Even when Luffy's like beating his ass, I'ma still cheer for Blackbeard. I'm telling you guys right now, I'm praying on Luffy's downfall.
Listen, Blackbeard, king of the pirates. You know what I mean?
Exactly. He's gonna get to it first. That's what really matters. How many poneglyphs do you think he has right now? What's his situation?
That's well, definitely laws. Considering that he beat his ass. Sorry for swearing.
Nah, I don't care.
So, I wonder how many Law had actually. How many did Law have? Did Law have 2 or 3?
He didn't have, or let's see. I don't think he had Whole Cake. He probably had Zoe. He had Wano.
Mm-hmm. So he has 2 then, right?
Yeah.
So I would say Blackbeard at least has 2 poneglyphs because of what happened to Law's crew. So at least that could. Oh, they actually did go to Whole Cake Island, if you remember, on the cover stories. So I would assume he has the Whole Cake Island poneglyph as well, because of Aokiji and Van Augur. So that just kind of leaves the last one. So I would say he's probably neck and neck with everybody else, with Luffy and also Shanks now, considering that he obliterated Kid. Rest in peace to my boy.
He's a fraud. I was on the battlegrounds. I'm talking chapter 1030, 1020. I was on the battlegrounds making One Piece chapter reactions, defending Kid, right? I kept giving him the benefit of the doubt. The moment I saw Kid and I realized he was going to Elbaf and he was going to fight Shanks, the moment that concept reached my mind, I abandoned all hope for Kid. I just can't defend him anymore. I'm sick of him being so hard-headed, and I get like that's like the point of his character. That's why he will fall short of Pirate King and fall short of, you know, fame and glory or whatever. But damn, it's like irritating.
Yeah, I can see if Kid like comes back, which I do actually see him coming back. I don't think he's down for good. I actually think Law might die. That's like my hot spicy take. That I think that Law is actually going to be the character that dies, but Kid survives. Because of the way that Oda kind of likes to do that mixed direction. I would say that he would have to come back and learn some sort of like hockey or type stuff. But he would probably come back as an underling. I don't think he's coming back as a captain. I think that the days of Captain Kid are numbered. And he either is going to submit to Luffy and become part of his Grand Fleet, or what could be really interesting if he joins Blackbeard's crew as like as like part of like Blackbeard's Grand Fleet, and like Blackbeard starts building this up as well with different pirate crews, which would also put him at odds with Luffy again, but also then kind of like make his character cool, where it's like, you know what, he's going to ally with somebody who he thinks will become Pirate King, kind of similar to Ace in a way, but.
Yeah, another way of looking at it is I think I just slipped my mind. Oh no. The fact that Law's awakening, you know, leads into him dying, or not his awakening, but the ultimate operation leads into him dying. That almost feels like it's a Chekhov's gun for Law's death. And I know like Law making Luffy immortal does seem pretty strange, but there's a possibility that Law is manipulated into using that operation. You know, I was thinking that maybe Blackbeard would manipulate Law into using the operation on Blackbeard to make him immortal in some kind of way, but Oda didn't want to take that direction. It's just at the same time, like, I don't see him making Beppo, or giving Beppo eternal life. I don't see him giving Luffy eternal life. I don't, like, I feel like it would have to be like a third party kind of source manipulating it. Do you agree with that take?
Yeah, my big thing is that I don't think that the Eternal Surgery is ever going to be like actually performed in current One Piece. I think that it was, what is it called? It's a Chekhov's gun, where it's like something is introduced just to have it like be introduced, basically, where it's like, here's the concept so that something happened in the past for it, but it won't happen like again. Like it's just like a story element. I don't think I'd like for Law to die that way. I would rather have Law die in battle, because I think it would be really good for his character, but also I'd like him to die for somebody else, because I think it'd be really good as like a reference to his backstory, where he was unable to save his friends, his family. Everybody died except for him, and he was left alone because he was powerless. But now that he has this power, he's able to save people. So I think it would be really poetic for his character, and probably a good way to end off his character is to have him die to protect somebody else, because he was unable to do that when he was a kid. He could do the surgery, but I would rather him not, in my opinion at least.
And L with the 2 said Shanks, dead by US or nah?
Huh? Dead by the end of One Piece.
Series, yeah.
End of series. I was like, EOS. Sorry, I was thinking of like a lipstick brand. I was like, damn, he's gonna die by chapstick? That's crazy.
Death by chapstick's insane, especially if it's Shanks.
You know that man moisturizes, okay? He got that Dilf bod, okay?
Yo.
The himbofication the himbofication of Shanks is downright disgusting. Film Red did him dirty. This man, they made him baby girl, okay? Anyways, yeah, I don't think Shanks is surviving. I think that Shanks dies either by Blackbeard or even could be by Emu. Would be really interesting and give Luffy kind of like a reason to go after Emu if Emu was the one who took out Shanks. I would love if Emu took him out effortlessly too. Like we build up Shanks to be this giant character. Emu is about to like take out like even the Straw Hats, or like it could be cool if it was like a reference back to like Sabaody, where it's like Luffy was powerless against like Emu at this point, and then Shanks steps in, saves everybody, and then dies. And Emu is just like, you know, like Shanks realizes that he doesn't have anything. Would make Emu seem a lot more powerful, and then it would also kind of really balance out Shanks. It's like, hey, it's being passed on to you now. Kind of like an All Might situation. I'd like it.
Another cool thing is one thing I agreed with, or one thing I found that was cool was like the concept of Emu killing Shanks kind of plays into how Shanks is depicted. It always seemed to like Oda wants us to admire Shanks like how Luffy admires Shanks. And you know, with his performance against Kid, it just kind of reaffirms that Shanks, like how you said, is supposed to be this giant character, this grand character. So it seems fitting that the only way to kill this giant character is if you were the king of the world, like you were top one. Like we would look back on Shanks and be like, damn, like this was our hero. This was the guy that inspired Luffy. And the only reason he died is because the king of the world, that's probably like top one in the verse, killed him. Besides that, no one else is touching him.
Mind roping right now. Yes. Totally agree. Oh, that'd be so cool.
His death would be so cool. You are a hater.
Me? I'm a hater. Listen, I pride myself. No, okay, hold up. You want to know what I actually hate? I hate on Mihawk so much. It is the funnest thing to do. I am the #1 Mihawk hater, not because I think he's weak, because I think he's top 10 in the verse, but because people think he can beat Shanks. Mihawk cannot beat Shanks.
You're about to start an all-out warfare. There's gonna be a civil war in my chat. Yo. I don't co-sign that at all. I have no idea what she's talking. Who is Mihawk?
Who is Mihawk? Nah, man. Hold up. Listen to this, right? There is no reason that Mihawk narratively should be able to beat Shanks. With the reverence that Oda has been giving Shanks over all of these years, to the fact that Shanks is still a Yonko even without 2 arms, it's like, there's a reason why Mihawk doesn't have that same bravado that we get from Shanks. When we saw Mihawk, train Zoro, it was a very casual introduction. Every introduction of Shanks has been insane in the manga and in the anime. Every time we see him, it is literally to hype people up. Where it's like, Mihawk, we see him and he's very cool, but he just doesn't have that bravado that Shanks has. So when you say that Mihawk can beat Shanks, it's kind of like saying that Mihawk is a more narratively important character than Shanks. Because, I'm gonna be honest, power scaling, in my opinion, is something I don't like to do, but when a shonen story is involved, it's necessary because it's part of the narrative. There is no narrative reason for Mihawk to be above Shanks in any way, because it wouldn't make sense for Luffy's character. Luffy will always be stronger than Zoro. Luffy's opponents will always be stronger than Zoro. And Luffy will always hold more narrative importance than Zoro does. Even though Zoro is a very good character, Luffy is always going to take that spotlight. So his enemies and his inspiration will also take more spotlight. That's the only reason why I say that. If you want to say something about like feats and pixel scaling, go ahead. It's fine.
My problem is Mihawk. Like, he is the biggest problem in One Piece. His fan base, he has the worst fan base of all time. I used to think that Zoro fans were bad. Mihawk fans are fucking terrible. Because Mihawk fans gotta let you know that they're a fucking Mihawk fan. Hello, sir, can I take your order? Yeah, this last chapter proved that Mihawk is a swordsman, as we already know, and he's above Shanks. Literally every chapter has to be made about Mihawk. I can't, bro, I hate when Mihawk fans talk. I wish they would just shut up.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, just...
I agree. They're so fun to troll. Bro, people get so mad when I say that. I love saying, like, oh, Mihawk is a fraud, just because I know people are gonna get so upset. It's like, I even say, I'm like, Mihawk is top 10 in the verse, but he's just not stronger than Shanks. That'll be my videologist, and then I'll be like, but he's a fraud. just cause y'all are annoying.
But even it's hilarious because even if you're positive, you're not toxic, and you don't make any jokes, people will literally come for your neck. I don't know why they're so invested into this pointless debate. Like,
I don't know. That's the only reason I do it too. That's the only reason is because I made something where I was just like, oh yeah, you know, in my opinion, and my videos I think are very respectful. I troll a little bit here and there, but I've never like attacked people. I just am always like, oh, you know, like this person is on Fraud Watch, but like I always go in and be like, oh, I just have an issue with this. You know what I mean? People will get really mad and like they'll put like the worst comments. I'm like, damn, okay then, two can play at this game. You know what I mean? If y'all want to, you know, hype up this man with no feats and who only beat Baratier Zoro, yeah. Go ahead.
The most toxic, no, you're good. I would say the most toxic video I ever made, it's privated right now. It's this video explaining why Dragon doesn't have the world's highest bounty. I had to just let loose. I had so much frustration because like they never called Dragon the most wanted man. That was never said ever.
Carlos.
And when I made that video, I was unleashing all my anger, stress, and frustration out on that video. I regret making that video because it was hella toxic.
You know, sometimes it be like that though. I remember I made a video on Dragon and I was like, Dragon's on Fraud Watch as a leader because he hasn't shown that he's leading anybody. Like, he's just had a very subpar performance. And he has. Like, he hasn't shown anything out. This man had, like, one of the craziest introductions, and then he just, like, pours drinks. And it's like, if I wanted to see a waiter, you know what I mean? I want to see him lead and, like, actually, like, show up and, like, kind of be like, Ivankov was a better leader than him in that chapter. Like, I love seeing Ivankov go off, but, like, Dragon, he just wasn't showing up his stuff. And I made that video, and I used the word Fraud Watch, which apparently Fraud Watch is only made for power scaling, even though it's not. But, bruh, the hate I got on that, I wasn't even being toxic. I was just like, put some respect on my girl, Ivankov.
You know what? Sometimes you have to be toxic, because even if you're nice, they're going to be toxic to you. So, two wrongs make a right.
No, I can't blame you. Yeah, you know, sometimes it's also just fun to troll a little bit. Chestnut is low-key toxic. I'm seeing Larry in the chat right now. Larry,
she be yelling at me daily.
Bruh, no, Larry be mean to me. Larry is mean to me, okay? I'll be like, oh my gosh, hey Larry, how you doing? He's like, how many Pepsis did you drink? Disgusting. I will not take this in my household. I've only had one so far, okay?
Only one. It's definitely not going to increase
at
any point today.
I'm going to the movies in a bit with my mom, and I buy a Pepsi. I buy the large Pepsi, and then I get a refill.
Yeah, you're increasing it.
I am a healthcare professional. It is totally fine. It will not destroy my liver or my kidneys. That is my medical opinion.
You know what? No comment. Lord Vegeta with the membership. Shout out to Tanuki-sama, W stream.
Aww. Thank you, Ragnar. I appreciate it.
And shout out to Anthony. Lion Kid in Cross Guild. What do you think? Kid in Cross Guild? Bro, I already expressed that he's a fucking fraud. I don't want him anywhere.
I can see it. I don't know. I feel like if Kid goes to Cross Guild, he'd have to work under Buggy, and I don't think he's doing that.
Kid's not working under Buggy at all.
Kid gotta get off that ocean floor, bro. Bro, Kid slander is so funny. I like Kid as a character. I think he's cool looking, but man. Sorry. Rest in peace. No.
Luffy said, you think Law could undo Imu's immortality? Wait, what? Luffy said, you think Law could undo Imu's immortality? Is that like a?
I think it's a question if we think that Law could undo Emu's immortality.
I feel like maybe that could be the case if Law sacrifices himself. Like, I feel like Oda would take that route. He would be like, okay, you want to remove Emu's immortality? Well, you're going to have to die to do that. Maybe, like, he uses the operation on Emu a second time and it cancels it out or something.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how else it would be done. I mean, Emu doesn't need to have their immortality removed in the first place. I would probably side with that. I don't think Emu's gonna have it removed.
Yeah, I think you just murk him. You know what I mean? Just like a good stake to the heart, like a vampire. A stake to the heart will kill anybody. I never understood that. If I got staked in the heart with a wooden stake, I would die too. But I'm not a vampire, unfortunately. But I think that would work. You know what I mean? Just heart, brain, one of the vital organs. I'll stop now. I'm sorry.
It's all good. All right, we got 2 more minutes and then we're gonna close off here. Of course, L super chats again. He said Charlos. I don't even want to talk to you anymore, L. They keep comparing me to St. Charlos. Can you like defend me? Is there something you could say to make them stop? They were doing that all night. Literally, I saw it over and over again. St. Charlos. No.
Hold up. What was
I'm stressing over here. They keep comparing me to St. Charlos.
Oh, what?
I'm being compared to St. Charlos. Please, that's like the most insulting shit of all time. I'd rather be compared to motherfucking, what was that little short dude at Long Ring Longland, Tojit? I'd rather be compared to him. Why Charlos?
You don't even look like Charlos.
Bro.
If anything, you got like that Law type figure. So I would say you look more like Law. Let's see, who else?
Mihawk.
You could pull off a Mihawk. I think you could pull off a pretty good Mihawk cosplay. 3-Volt cosplay when?
If I ever do one, it's gonna be Mihawk or Law. I'm not doing Charlos. Look at them saying Charlos stuff. I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm not reading chat anymore.
No.
And then Nasty Ninja. This is gonna be the last event today. Thank you. He got a membership 2 months in a row. Pepsi Gang, I got your back, Chestnut.
Gang, let's go. Oh, Pepsi's so good.
I'm sorry, but I would probably put Coke over Pepsi. Like if we're talking like an actual cold can out of like a fridge or something, Coke clears.
All right, and I think that's where we should end it today. You're breaking my heart.
I can't cab. I mean, I really wanted to say Dr. Pepper, but I feel like no one ever agrees with me on that.
Dr. Pepper is good. Dr. Pepper's good. But man.
All right, but I think that's it. Chestnut,
okay, cool.
Thank you so much for your time and energy. Thank you for being such a fun guest today.
Thank you for having me. I had so much fun. We'll have to do it again, for real.
Yeah, 100%. And you guys, if there's any mods right now that could get the link to her channel, just spam that in the chat. It would make my day if you guys supported her. She's been making content for a hot minute, and it's good content, as you guys see. Like, she's been spitting literally the whole stream.
You're so sweet. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I got you. And of course, L, another super chat. All jokes, but you do look like Mihawk. All right, that's where we're closing it off. Is there anything else you want to say before we leave?
Other than thank you guys so much. I really had fun here. Everybody's been great, and I really appreciate everybody. So thank you.
Where can people find you?
I am on TikTok, which is where I started off, but I have also been making YouTube shorts. I've been trying to do edited content, so check that out as well. So TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, I post the same stuff on all 3, so it doesn't matter where you guys follow me as long as you're following one, wink wink. And I do stuff there, so come check me out.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Everyone have a nice morning, day, or night, wherever you guys are. We are heading out. Peace.